This. All right. Welcome to Unpack Radio, and we are currently live. So today's conversation, I know it's been a minute since we hooked up and talked about the actual world of fitness. And considering it's a new year, and a few people are going to make promises they may or may not keep, how can we encourage them to stick towards the fitness path?
Who
First
are
All
we
right, I'll
question.
go
talking?
for.
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay, I'll go first. Just like anything, I'm a big believer in New Year's resolutions. I know some people aren't, some people are, but it's really an opportunity with a fresh slate. It's all fake. It's just a calendar day. It's no different than the rest, but it's a good opportunity to set a goal. And how I try and help people achieve that goal is to just it's general goal setting. Okay, set a goal. You want to lose 20 pounds this year. That's not really a goal. It's a wish. Saying you want to lose 20 pounds this year, then breaking it down month by month, week by week with how you're going to get there, your training, your calories, your this, that's a goal now all of a sudden, right? And then that's what most people miss about goal setting and achieving those goals in general, whatever their goal is that if you just state something, I want $1 million, that's a wish, not a goal. I want $1 million and I'm going to increase my net worth by 10% by doing this, that, all these things. That's a goal, right? So when I see the new people at the gym or at kickboxing or anything, I'm trying to encourage them in little bite-sized bits to go, okay, next week your goal is this, week after's that, then assess monthly, quarterly, and for the rest of the year and watch you'll make it happen.
To be honest, when I see new people, I try to encourage them, and then sometimes I mind my business. And the reason I say sometimes I mind my business, you never know when that ego is gonna come out. So you just kind of you lure, and you kind of just like, man, should I approach? Should I not approach? And sometimes I take the path of I'm not gonna approach. Cause true story, maybe a month or two ago, some guy's gonna he was doing something stupid, he's about to rip his bicep out of joint, and it was looking bad for him, and we just decided to mind our business and not even interrupt the guy after he said he knew what the hell he was doing. So with the newcomers, I kind of mind my business. What about you, Jack? We
You're
can't hear
muted.
you.
There we go.
Yeah, trash,
All
trash. Yeah,
right, well,
those are.
Jack sorts himself out. I see a new face pop up. Justin,
How you doing, man?
talk good.
Hey, this is Jack Coach, by the way. So
Yep, I'm his coach. I'm on his shirt. That's who I am. Yeah.
my first question was in this world of people making promises they may or may not keep, how can we encourage people to stay along the fitness path?
The fitness path, I mean, I think the biggest thing is I think the whole thing with people trying to think about a New Year's resolution kind of should be a every year resolution. It shouldn't change. So staying honest to yourself, kind of having a goal every single year and sticking to it so you don't ever have to redo it. You just keep progressing that exact same goal.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Jack, Jack, now we can actually hear you. How do you feel about people staying on the path?
Oh, can't
Can't
hear
hear
you
him.
again.
Trash. No.
click the mic button at the bottom of your screen. You might have had it muted, not your
Yeah.
headphone.
Who knows? Technology. Boy, oh boy. Trash. Trash. You might have to disconnect from your headphones, cut the Bluetooth off, and then go from there.
I think it's that button on the bottom of your screen. So do you see the thing that says mic and then camera?
Yeah, might be that.
Yeah.
Who knows? Well, anyway, question number two: How Jack get his life together? Okay. I have noticed since we are in the world of Ozempic, I've
Mhm.
noticed that there's not a lot of newcomers at Goals. Maybe because Goals is so hardcore, but maybe because people have other options. How do you guys feel about all these new options popping up and people not wanting to do the physical work anymore? I'll start with you, Ryan, and work around in a circle.
There has been less New Year's resolutioners both at the gym and for me kickboxing this year than prior. So I agree with you. I don't know if it's that. I think it might be just like Ozempic. Sure, it works. Not going to say it doesn't. There's science there. Does it work well? Probably. Does it work forever? Nobody knows. It's new. But I think there could be a case of that, people relying on that. But I think less New Year's resolutioners each year is a societal thing about giving up on goals and just giving up, man. Like, I'm fat, that's it. I'm gonna love myself fat while my health markers go to shit and whatever else, right? Like, and I'm not gonna be any judgment on that. My original weight loss journey from me being a big fat fuck was a New Year's resolution too. So no judgment. But I think that society is giving up. And then those Ozempic people, I think actually the opposite. If there was someone fresh on Ozempic, they're in the gym, they're trying, and then they might fall off, but they're really riled up for a journey. I think maybe because the drugs are going to help.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I also think that like people just try and look for like shortcuts. They don't have to do any hard work. So they're trying to figure out like, oh, I could take Ozempic, I could lose weight, but how actually healthy will you become if you don't actually improve your cardiovascular health while you're doing that and learning how to eat, learning how to salt your food, when not to salt your food, how to all the nutrition sides and exercise, because I feel like it can help you lose weight, but I'm sure once you stop it, it's all going to come back. So
Yeah, I've had several clients who've done the Ozempic route. Can you hear me?
here, yeah, we
Gotcha.
hear
Yes.
you
Awesome.
now.
Yeah, good. I've had several clients that have gone the Ozempic route, and they've come to me after they've done it, and they gained all the weight back.
Mm,
They would lose like 30 pounds, because they would essentially starve themselves. And and so now that people that come to me and they say, "Oh, I'm doing like Ozempic or whatever," because there's a lot of them now. I tell them, at least get your protein in, at least eat like something nutritious. So at least you have a little bit of a foundation. So when you get, back off it or whatever, or your metabolism just slows down to like starvation rate, where, you're eating something nutritious. But yeah, it's a short-term fix. It's like keto and everything else. You'll lose a lot of weight and then it'll come right back. The only way to do it is, through the hard way and being consistent and, being on top of things, with the lifting, the eating, the sleeping, the resting. All those things are important.
yeah, it's also funny because when you think about what all these like drugs do with losing weight, how it kind of makes your metabolism stop, your hunger stop. What you would actually do with the nutrition side of the fact when you're eating to lose weight, you're eating smaller meals more frequently to speed up your metabolism. You're not just
Mm.
trying to stop eating. So it's pretty much like what you're going to do health wise is pretty much the opposite of what it's going to do when you do those injections and stuff like that.
Outstanding. This is a real Facebook post that I read from one of my friends, and I would love some professional coaches' point of view. Their
Mm.
post was, Lord, please get rid of this stage 2 diabetes, which is preventable and curable if you do the right things. So, should we be praying to Jesus or should we be doing the work?
We should be doing the work.
Ryan, I'll let you
Yeah.
go first. This is a real post, by the way. This is a
Oh
real
no,
post.
That's crazy.
I believe you that that's a real post, and I believe that person wasn't going. Thank you, Jesus, for all these goddamn fudge rounds I ate to get to stage 2 diabetes. Were they thanking Jesus for the overeating for 20 years? Were they thanking Jesus for the salt and sugar and all of that? Now, I understand that thinking because when I was fat before, I was pre-diabetic, every health marker out the goddamn window. So totally fair, right? But
Mhm.
I think Jesus was praying for me to put down the goddamn cookie and get out there and walk or go to the gym. So I think
Yeah.
they got that one backwards. You know,
Agreed.
if you're a religious guy, the Lord gave you free will. So what are you doing with it? Right?
You either do something or you don't do anything. That's
Look,
pretty much
look.
it.
Every photo I see of Jesus, he's got a six pack and he looks ripped as shit. So he's doing something right.
Especially Korean Jesus. If anyone out there listening, Google Korean Jesus, and they use an incredibly yoked version of Jesus for their
I love
iconography.
it. That's
That's
my religion
hilarious.
right there.
So, in short, put down the cookie dough, put down the Bible, and pick up the scale and the weights, huh?
That's
Hmm.
right.
Now this
I
is a
swear by protein.
hey, and this is a new but old debate, but it's been going around on TikTok. Someone recently had to let people know, no matter what you see on social media, and no matter how many people you see do it, 225 is heavy as F. How do you feel about 225 pounds being actually heavy, and normal humans shouldn't compare themselves to us?
Are like, in what sense are we talking about 225 pounds?
Bench press, but of course, bench press, squat, deadlift, however you want to pick it up off the ground. 225 is heavy.
I think yes, it could be heavy, but I also think that like most people could accomplish that if they just put their mind to it. So,
Hmm.
like, I know, like, for example, my girlfriend, she's like an elite powerlifter. She benches 250, and so it's like I feel like if you really, I feel like a 225 bench. I'm not saying for all women and men or whatever, like all walks of life and stuff. But if you really want to get into it, I feel like you'll be able to squat 225. You'll be able to deadlift 225. It's just about kind of getting there, your body type, what your goals are. If you're losing weight, you want to build strength. If you're being an athlete, like regardless, like I think it's pretty attainable. Yeah,
I
but it's
think
heavy.
like,
If you drop it on yourself,
mm,
it's not good. So
mm-mm. I think
yeah.
like most normal guys at the gym, the average I probably see, because I go to a lot of them to train clients, is, from anywhere from like 150 to 185. That's like the norm.
Mhm.
You see someone just walking in, casually and doing the bench press without any arch or whatever. But I tell my clients whenever they hit 225 on bench, that's a huge milestone. Like for,
Plate
that's
milestones.
like one of the, yeah, it's one of the markers, and you're doing a really good job, and it shows that you've been putting in training and discipline if you hit that number. So I think it should
Yeah.
be celebrated. But whether
Hmm.
it's strong or not is very relative. Like among us, it's not strong at
Exactly.
all. But for an average gym goer, that's a milestone.
I'm going to take a contrary opinion to you lovely gentlemen and
You
say
always do.
225. Well, hey, I'll explain myself here. I think 225 is absolutely rarefied air on the bench press, and you should be goddamn celebratory that you did it. It's not that it's not theoretically possible for most men of normal height and weight or exceptional ladies. Hear me out. There's 8 billion people in the world. 4 billion are men. Of those 4 billion, 1 billion too old, 1 billion too young, down to 2 billion. A billion of those live in countries with not enough calories to lift a fucking feather off the ground. Now you're
Very
down to
fair.
1 billion. Only 30% of people even go to the gym. At those 30% of people in Western countries that go to the gym, only 1 or 2, 3, 4% can bench 225. So you are one of the strongest human beings on earth if you can bench press 225 at any size, any weight, anything. We have here, us four guys, what's called perception bias. We eat, breathe, live, and shit lifting. So in our world, 225 is entry level. But if you're just some Joe, like once upon a time, I was some guy who worked at a store, worked as a banker guy and
Hmm.
walked into the gym for the first time, 225 was like hitting the fucking lotto. Now, it took me
Very true.
years and it did this, and I got through it, and I went way higher than that. I competed at the highest levels of sport. But when you see someone, it is rare, and we can't forget the journey we took to get where we're at. Is where when we got to go, that's rare. And you see someone do it, you shake their hand, you high five them, you hug them, you toss them in the air, and you go, God damn it, you did it, bro. And then anyone else who's going, hey, you can do it. You can be one of the 1 in 10,000 men that can do this. Here's a plan. But
Hmm.
it ain't by accident. Nobody benches 225 by, okay, a
No,
400
you got
pound
to
dude.
train.
You got to
Yeah.
train, right? So it's not an accident, and it takes work, and it should be congratulated. But
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
anytime we put numbers on it, guys like us, our data's bad because of we are in a sphere. Me seeing a guy squat 800 pounds, isn't that rare? I ref powerlifting meets. Actually, a person who can squat 800 pounds, you're more likely to win the lottery. But I see those guys. I see those guys in my world, right? So it's other people
And
don't.
Ryan, to jump on what you're saying too, there's also social media bias too, where we only see like king of the lifts and stuff like that, where like people are, benching freaking like 500 pounds. Justin over here benching 400 pounds on an off day. So, social media gives you a lot of bias
Today,
towards, what
Julius
it is.
Maddox Julius Maddox video put up a set of 655 pounds for a set of 5 on the bench,
Five.
raw dogging it flat backed. and like nothing. So yes, that's across our Instagram feeds, which is ruining our data.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very fair. Yep.
Yeah.
Outstanding points. Outstanding points. Another issue has been coming to the space of social media. A young man recently tried to SWAT 405, no SWAT shoes, no belt, no support, buttocks in the wind, and had some terrible form and almost died. So, how can you SWAT correctly and safely big boy weights?
I
Well,
feel like it's
Justin taught me, so you can tell him, Justin.
well, I mean, first off, like you have to build a foundation of not just learn. You have to learn your technique. You have to learn that maybe I don't need squat shoes. Maybe I'm better in flat shoes. I have to learn how to break at the hips when I'm descending on my squat. I have to learn everything from the ground up, from rooting your feet to keeping your lats tight to keeping the bar super tight on your back. So I feel like he'd be able to do that a lot safer if he just learned better from the start. I mean, I'm like, for example, me, I I basically had to learn as I messed up because I started with I don't have to mention names, but I started with a coach who wasn't really big on technique. It was just here's the training, go do it, do all this volume, and then after you get hurt enough times, you're like, well, I need to make a change. So if you hurt your back, you hurt your knees. First off, you're like, where do I go wrong? It's first off, every time somebody gets hurt, 90% of the time, if they're a beginner, intermediate, and they don't have lots of experience, it's their technique and their bracing. It's not knowing how to activate their lats, rooting their feet, keeping your core engaged. So it's just kind of like if you can get somebody to teach them right from the beginning, you're going to avoid a lot of those issues down the road. So it's basically just learning the technique, building a base and foundation, not worrying about, okay, I have to hit a max weight in 3 weeks. Let's worry about what we're going to do in 12 weeks, just to kind of build up to that so we actually do it in a safer way and think about long-term goals rather than right now. But yeah,
I like that one. That's
yeah,
a good point.
yeah.
Ryan, Jack.
I got nothing for that kid, man. Like you can't. What was without any bunch of data that we already don't know. If he looked that bad, what the hell are you doing putting 4 plates on instead of 2 or whatever he should have been
Literally,
squatting? But the
exactly.
answer is just time under the barbell. And time under the barbell, like I don't want to say bad form, no knees, no belt. I could squat 405 bare knee, no belt, but
Same.
that took 13 years of freaking straight lifting, right? So it's not, and I'm not even that big of a guy, right? Like but learning to attempt things, or maybe our last question, we brought up perception bias. That kid's been watching too many Larry Wheels videos thinking, oh, everyone squats 800 pounds. So 405 must be nothing. Watch me give it a
Yeah,
rip. There's
yeah,
definitely some gaps in their training and some gaps in there between the ears to walk up. Like I can't imagine any of us, like we're all at a certain place in our lifting. Imagine just loading double your PR on and trying to give it. What's going to
you're gonna
happen? We're going to
just
end up on a fail
collapse.
video, right? We're going to
Yeah,
end up on a fail video. So that kid just needs time and needs some coaching and needs some unk or some big brother in the gym to go, bro, let's take a couple plates off and start from here. And then 6 months later, we'll film you with this 405 again, or a year later,
exactly,
or 2 years later, or whatever, right? Like,
exactly.
no internet fails. Don't go into a situation that fail army is a realistic possibility,
Yeah,
Uh, and from what I saw from the video, luckily one of his friends pushed him from the back, or we would have had another person who would have probably passed away because it was
Yeah.
going down and it was going right on his neck.
that's. Ugh. I think
Yeah, I
another
can't
thing
even
is
watch
like
those.
no, I saw that one. It was like a year ago with when he didn't have safeties on and it crushed his neck or something. Was
The
it a
Yes,
year ago?
Brazilian
Yeah,
yes,
guy?
yeah.
yes,
That
Yeah.
was,
yes.
and it's like a big thing. Like so, I moved to Vegas about like 9 or 10 months ago, and the biggest difference that I've seen is like I'm at a powerlifting only gym now. So like everybody like I will say 90% of people will know how to spot. So I think another like important thing is if you don't have a spotter, if you're squatting heavy, you better have safeties up because it is not a joke. Because if you fall forward, you get your neck crushed. That's it. Like just from a stupid squat workout that could have been avoided. So yeah, if you don't have spotters, then you should really lift with safeties or learn how to bail. because if you
That
don't know
was
how to
I
bench,
was just going to add that, Justin.
Mhm.
Like learning to bail a lift is a skill that any power lifter needs. We're going to train
yep,
alone from time to time. You're going to be on
agreed.
equipment in some foreign gym on trip, like that
Yep,
doesn't have safeties, but you can't
yep,
miss your workout. So, but I would go safeties first.
yep,
Learning to bail is further down the list, but it's still on the same list.
yeah, yeah,
Spotters first, safeties second. Learning to bail is third in
yeah,
that rank. But you
yep.
should have all three in a perfect world, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before I
Hey,
moved, I had a spot maybe like every few weeks or like every
Yeah.
other week or something like that. So you just have to learn how you have to know your limits when you're alone too. You don't have to always not every like it's whoever lifts the longest is the strongest. It's not the person who goes RPE 10, which means just maxing out every week that gets stronger. It's building up to that makes you better.
hey, I totally agree. Unfortunately, my small little power lifting section, it just be me back there some days. So
And you know how
it
to
gets a
do
little interesting. A little
it.
interesting. You guys got to learn sometimes not to put those clamps on, kids, just
Yep.
in case.
Mhm.
Especially when you're benching.
Yeah.
Just in case when Kevin says 275 for three, and that third one's like, woo!
Yep.
Yeah, it gets a little close. Jack,
Yep.
what's your answer for this kid who tried this 4 or 5 squat and almost went bad for him?
To get a coach and to learn to bail. I mean, I think that's what I do with all my clients when I start teaching them like barbell squat. And they're all like, amateurs. They've never been under a bar before. And that's the first thing I go over them. I'm like, when I spot you, I'm going to lift underneath your arms and I'm going to hold you like this. So, like first you know, make sure that their boundaries are okay with it. But I also tell them, if you have it on your back like this and you've got to bail and I'm not behind you, you just throw it off your back. Just let it go off your back. You don't roll it forward. That's basic because that Brazilian, I think it was a Brazilian bodybuilder who was like doing 490 or whatever and died from it because he went forward. That was horrific. So you never want to see that. And it's like squats are out of the big three, squats are one of the most safe, like mortality wise, lifts there is. Most people, they're getting killed from doing bench press. So, that's the one that you should have the safeties up the most and, be willing, be able to like tip off your chest if you need to, because it will choke you out in a second.
Good point. My next question before we get to the serious topics is how do you recover from a major injury, or how do you recommend your clients recover from a major injury?
I mean, that's pretty much all I've been doing for years. So, um, yeah, I've had back injuries nonstop. I've torn the muscle belly of both my pecs. I've done pretty much anything that you could think of, except for like tendon tears and stuff like that. But I mean, first off, I don't just, I'm not a clinician. I don't pretend I am. I can just speak from experience. So, like, I have physical therapists that I talk to. I work with one myself, and I always bounce ideas off them to help my clients. But basically, the most meathead answer you could do is start the movements again very slow, very light, very light, be safe. Don't worry about, I need to get back by a certain time. Because think about, like, I've torn my quad. If you think about, like, I'll give an example for a quad injury. If you tear the muscle belly of your quad, if you try and squat, you're gonna make it a lot worse. Like the thing that I did that helped me a lot was reverse sled drags because there's no eccentric, there's no on the way down. It's just pushing. It's concentric. So the more you can force blood flow, the more you can move through the motion without making it worse, and the more that you can just recover within the movements itself was probably the best idea, like generalities that I have. But yeah, and stability. But yeah.
Good point. Like I like some of the SWAT University stretches and mobility
Mm,
exercises. Goaded,
mm,
goaded,
yep.
especially the reverse sled drag. Goaded.
Yep.
Ryan, what
Anybody
do
could
you?
benefit from them.
Oh, goaded, goaded. Ryan, how do you suggest people recover from slight lower wear and tears on their body?
Well, I'm Captain Injury Recovery. I spent several years in rehab and broken every bone in my body, every surgery, horrific injuries, come back. And, that last meet I did, I squatted 575 after snapping my leg 16 weeks earlier and having surgery, all of that. Now, this is not what I'm going to suggest for other people, like what I do, a little different, but I'll get into that. Is instantly, this is real talk, is if you get hurt, you're a shark now. Stop moving, you're dead. And I believe that. So you instantly have to get back on the horse. When I say back on the horse, if you have an injury in it, you can only move 1 pound through the full range of motion. You move 1 pound through the full range of
Literally.
motion. That's it. 1 pound. You tear a bicep, 1 pound until it's 2 pounds, until it's 3 pounds, until it's that nice and comfortable. Don't go for acute pain. Soreness is okay, not acute pain. That takes training in the lifter, knowing the difference between those two. And you have to keep moving because Justin nailed it. You need blood flow to that area. You need nutrients. And then here's something people don't talk about, fibrosis, which is the accumulation of scar tissue around an injury, which can then cut your ROM down. You can get hamstrung, you can get seized up. And that's from immobility or atrophy. If you just take an injury and you just don't move it ever again for 6 months, you're going to have to break through scar tissue. It's going to be worse, man, than just moving it 1 pound at a time. So I suggest when I help people with injuries, right back on the horse, not squatting if it's a blown quad, but then on the leg press with 1 plate, whatever it is, nothing, even an empty leg press, and walking and swimming. And because I tore up my leg real bad and I was in the pool and I was walking, I couldn't squat for a long time, but I was in the pool and I was doing stuff. And that's how you do it, nice and slow. And then there's some pharmacological cheats, but maybe this is the chat for
it.
Hey, man, live your truth. You know what I mean? Live your truth.
All right, so live your truth. HGH, BPC 157, TB 500, and a rehab program will Wolverine stack, man, Wolverine stack. And if you can't afford HGH, sub in MK 677 or a Secretagogue. And then, maybe that's how I snapped a leg, had surgery, and squatted 575 like 20 minutes later. But hey, that's
Hey,
just me, man.
live your truth. Not everybody can ride this natural journey like me and Jack. You know what I mean? We're gonna stay over here and mind our business. Business. And trust me, as I get older,
I
I'm almost about to creep over to the dark side because it's getting more and more difficult. It's getting more and more difficult as the 40s get a little longer. It gets more and more difficult. Jack.
It does. You really break down more, and I've been experiencing that too. Justin's been really helping me with my rehab because I have bad sciatica in my hip. I think it's from like the SI joint. But we've been doing things like box squats. We did a whole month. Like I was supposed to have a meet in March for regionals, but I had to cancel that. I wanted to make the right decision and save myself for nationals, and because this kept reoccurring. This is like the second time it's come back. And I was like, you know what, Justin, let's just take the
And
whole
just
year.
to add to that, you can't start another meet prep being injured. You're just going to be worse off. So you have to get out of pain.
Yeah.
Then that's the point. Yeah.
And
But
so
yeah,
I
I
was
think
like, let's just
just
take the
to
year.
yeah. Go on it. You
Let's
go it.
just
My
take
bad.
the year and let's just do some. And he had me do box squats. He had me lay off the deadlifts for a while, but now we're getting back into full range of motion squats now that the hip is feeling better, and we're doing the deadlifts off of blocks. So, and it's lighter weight, and we're just slowly creeping back. And he keeps asking me, what's the pain level at? Where are we at? And he's like, okay, so it's getting better, so we're gonna take a couple weeks, or next week we're gonna start getting you more range of motion. And so it's like you were saying, Ryan, it's like you got to get range of motion in it, and as much as you can with whatever weight you can do it. And it's been really helpful for me. I'm feeling really confident, and I mean, yeah, I've been taking this time off just because I want this to be it. I want to really fix this for good and be 100% when I come to nationals in July in New Jersey. So that's the plan.
So if you take your injury for example, when you're when you think about sciatic pain, you can pinpoint that in a bunch of different ways because sciatica and SI joint pain are two separate things, but they could be intertwined if you have the nerve pain going down your leg, going into your butt cheek and stuff like that. So the reason behind kind of not dropping to the bottom of his squat all the way and stopping at parallel, even though that's not what we want for powerlifting. For powerlifting, we have to squat below parallel. But for him, I was just noticing that whenever he would hinge or be in extreme extension, that's when you'd have the pain. So if you stop that extension at around parallel on a squat, so instead of deadlifting, we did 2 days a week of box squats, and now we're doing box squats with his block pull deadlifts, which is elevated range of motion, and then we're going back to regular squats on the other day. But the main thing is when you have any type of back injury, if you're not doing like a lot of unilateral work with your adductors, your glutes, your core, everything like that, you're just going to be a reoccurring thing. That's what I've dealt with for many years. So it's just trying to figure out the exact recipe for his rehab that makes it so that rehab will become prehab, so you won't have to deal with this anymore. So
Hey, good,
yeah,
good stuff right there. And
yeah.
I notice every podcast in the world, every place I go, everybody says the same thing. The deadlift is too dangerous, mommy, and I don't want to go outside.
Yeah,
So,
BS.
one, why do people feel like the deadlift is so dangerous? And two, how can you properly teach someone or tell someone how to do a deadlift without injuring their back?
Well, I feel like you kind of like you set up the answer to that because they literally just don't do it correctly. They don't know how to they don't know how to brace, they don't know how to hinge, they don't know how to tighten their lats. It's just learning everything from the ground up. Like everything starts from your feet, learning how to root, learning how to brace. So, I mean, first off, you don't know how to brace, you shouldn't be deadlifting yet. We should teach you little mechanical things before. And teaching somebody how to deadlift, if you break it down into a few steps, I mean, essentially like it's not supposed to feel like a low back movement. Just they should remember that. So, yeah.
Even what's my man Robert?
I
What's
usually
up,
start my
man?
clients
Strong
off with
man
a
said deadlift was too dangerous. Robert something. He was like the deadlift is too dangerous,
Robert
mommy.
Oberst, the strongman.
Yes.
He was like, if you don't got to do it, don't do it. But I mean,
Yes.
that's not really the answer.
He suggested power cleans instead. So if you are a recreational gym goer going after work from your office job, he's on glue. Teach that person a power clean is going to take them how much longer than to teach somebody a proper deadlift. Like his
Way longer.
advice was, if it was good, and I think it was garbage, but if we'll take his side for a second, he's talking about trained athletes that don't compete in a deadlift centered sport. And
Yeah.
yes, maybe a power clean is a good choice, but to learn a power clean, Jesus, like that's not a, like, okay, granny who's coming to the gym for the first time, we're going to show you how to deadlift in 20 minutes. I can't teach some old lady how to power clean. Even,
Yeah.
that takes an athlete. We could all teach each other how to power clean here. We all have a foundation in lifting and the gym and our bodies and our proprioception and our movements.
Mm-hmm.
And it would still take me 6 weeks to probably power clean something of note of just steadily working on it, versus doing it cold. Like that Obi's advice there, just like, or so niched out that it's, anything. Like when I see people afraid of deadlifts, I go, look, man, do you know how to pick up a box? Did you look at the little picture, the little OSHA picture on the side of that box? Is the straight spine and they're like in the right position? There you go. Try that. Barbell, 10 on each side and work on it. Like in that, when I teach a regular person a little thing at the gym helping out someone, look at that box on the side of the OSHA thing, straighten your back, breathe, go. Like you're absolutely right, Justin, about proper everything, 100%. But I mean, in a little 5-minute explanation, you're having coffee.
Yeah.
That box picture on the side of every box in America will teach you how to deadlift. Go ahead, Jack, or whoever.
I train
general
population. Tell me they want like a booty. If you want to gain a booty and if you want to gain the most gains possible, deadlift is one of the best lifts you can do. And I tell my clients that all the time. I'm like, if you want real results, you got to incorporate the deadlift some way, whether it's RDLs, whether it's trap bar deadlifts, even with like a kettlebell, because it's going to give you some of the best glute gains and hamstring gains that you can possibly get. Just learning how to hinge in general is essential for any kind of weightlifting.
Mm. Yeah.
Good question. Good one. All right. Before I wrap this up, the next thing, as someone brung up on the world of TikTok, which I thought was very interesting, but I thought was kind of true. Outside of powerlifting, you should not squat ass to grass. Now, how do you guys feel about this? Even though we're in our own little space, so you got to remember we're talking about the general public, and most people are not crazy enough to do what we do. So you got to remember that before you jump out there. But how do you feel about people not swatting ass to grass?
I'll
And
go
we're going
first on this one.
Go first.
and we ain't
Oh,
talking about no little weight. We're talking 315 or more. We're talking you got three wheels on your back, and you're gonna say, I'm taking this for a ride.
it's funny when people say that. In a powerlifting sense, other than an accessory movement, occasionally for mobility, you don't squat ass to grass. So it's funny when you said, like, in a powerlifting sense, squatting ass to grass is not done unless it's just an accessory built in. I've had coaches give me ass to grass squats in my training at a much lighter weight or whatever that I'm used to. It's different things. But in powerlifting, we don't squat ass to grass. You just want to break parallel. And what's funny now, I've been fully retired from powerlifting, maybe not forever, but for a full year and change now. And now I'm squatting ass to grass as much as I can. So it's because of mobility, because of different
Hmm.
muscles, because of, so it's funny. It's like totally another Facebook post that's backwards in reality to that. Ass to grass squatting actually helped my kickboxing immensely. But I've lost so much of my top end strength. I'm not really going to hurt myself anymore. So I have to be realistic as I diet down to get in the ring and work on my cardio. But yeah, I squat ass to grass now, didn't before. So I say you should squat ass to grass. There's probably tons of research in the Olympic lifting fields and all of these things. Of course, even at three wheels, if that's your biscuit and powerlifting, if you don't get one red light, you went too deep. That's that's how powerlifting works.
Yeah, it's funny because like even if you talk about let's like for anybody with any type of fitness goal, like the more that you're more gains you're trying to make, more range of motion is better. So if you are trying like if you're trying to get somebody to gain size in their legs, their glutes, whatever, squatting 5 inches high, you're not getting the full stretch of your hamstring, your glute. You're not getting the full stretch of your quad. So the more range of motion, the better. Obviously, like there's a lot of like debate over like knees over toes stuff too, but that's obviously not for general because they don't really do that. But like only doing a 4 inch block pull on deadlift is probably not the best for your gains for your hamstrings and your glutes. So just more range of motion, in my opinion, especially like teaching somebody that's doing like, let's say I'm training a high school athlete. They want to jump higher. By having them stop above parallel for a squat is probably not the best choice to try and get explosive power. So it's just more range of motion, the better for pretty much any goal. I totally agree with Ryan.
Jack.
What's that guy's name? Seedman, that has people do like the quarter
Who?
squats.
Joel
What's the
Oh
Seedman.
my
Joel
gosh, I
Seedman?
can't watch him.
Yes, yes. Joel Seedman would have a problem with you, Justin, because he
I'd
says
love to
that
talk to
quarter.
him.
He says that quarter squats are what adds to explosivity. I believe it's total bullshit. Like I think that you look at any of these Chinese weightlifters and they do, ass to grass squats and they are athletic specimens. And
Like
you
no,
do
their
it.
butt is touching their calves sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like put it this way:
Yeah,
when you're teaching somebody how to
yeah.
deadlift to find their conventional deadlift stance, if you literally you do a walk up to a jump, wherever your stance is, if you look at what a jump is, it is essentially getting ready for a deadlift. You're setting up for a jump and you're going down and you're almost in a deadlift position. So you can argue that he's just totally wrong about everything that he talks about. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah.
Good points.
Yeah, no LeBron squats.
Oh my
Oh,
Jesus.
those
Oh
are
my
really
Jesus.
bad.
Possibly one of the best athletes in the world, but one of the worst swats I've ever seen
Mm-hmm,
in my life.
His
mm-hmm,
knees are
Oh
going
my
like that.
Jesus. Oh my Jesus. All right, final thoughts about the world of fitness and why people seem to want to run away from it. Because to be honest, fitness saved my life. And fitness introduced me to a bunch of wonderful people. And 3 years ago, well, Ryan was here for this conversation. You guys weren't. But 3 years ago, someone had the audacity to say, I will never squat or deadlift. I don't know who that guy is anymore because that's all I seem to be doing now. But 3 years ago, that guy said that crazy statement. So I know this world has saved my life personally, but how can
Agreed.
we encourage others to save their life? Ryan, I'll start with you and work around
I
the
would
circles.
say one. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I just want to, in terms of anyone watching this or people we talk to after this discussion, I want to delineate online fitness from in real life fitness communities. The online fitness community can be toxic cesspool of garbage, and I can see how
Agreed.
people are pulling away from it. You know, the Joey Swolls of the world are fighting back, but it's a garbage, toxic, shitty environment online. Yet, if you walk into any gym on earth, you are going to find brothers and sisters and people that would take off their shirt off their back to make sure you get one more ounce of gains or help you shovel your walk or do whatever. So there's a divide there
Mm,
between what people see online and what people see in real life are the people. And then once they get over that, like, oh, I don't want to ever go to the gym because of all these douchebags and chicks taking pictures of their buttholes and freaking all this stuff. And unfortunately, that happens too much. Hence why, you know, you got Joey Swole getting all kinds of content every 20 seconds because someone's taking a picture of their butthole or doing some asshole behavior in the gym. But if you go to the gym every day, as we all do, how often do you see stuff like that? Not because we're watching worldwide social media, so of course it's every
yeah.
second. But the gym community to me was the most positive community of people I have ever come across in all of my walks of life. They're there to better themselves. So why
Mm,
wouldn't they be positive people? You know, right? Like, and they're there to improve. They're there to try hard. They're there for their health. Like, there's no single reason on earth to not exercise somehow, way, get your fitness up. There is no argument.
agreed.
But then when people do, there is an argument to say, oh, gym culture is toxic. And I go, it is online. It isn't in real life. You're going to have to find that out. So I think people need to learn that lesson. Go to a gym, go to a fitness class, go to aerobics, whatever it is. I want
Just
anyone to be
move.
on any kind of fitness journey. And it
Yeah.
involves eating less and moving more. Boom. You know, right? Like for us
Literally.
North American folks here, right? So I don't care if they're going to an aerobics class, I'm cheering them on. But when they get to that aerobics class, they're going to find supportive people looking for their goals and will help them out. Or you come, like my new journey's martial arts, another amazing supportive community when I'm in the gym or in the ring, right? So it's just wonderful. And I want people, whoever hears this, online is not in real life. Go meet some fantastic people, get on a journey and better yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I've been a part of a lot of gyms. I've worked at a bunch of them. I've trained at pretty much every major gym in Los Angeles before I moved to Las Vegas, and I've trained at many of them. You will always find a positive gym community. If you're there, always will be some negativity, but it's your choice to not care about it because it's much worse online than it is in person. The toxicity online is just it's what I think it's exactly what Ryan said. It steers people away from doing it, but also like at no point in life is you being stronger, healthier, faster, you could move better going to be a problem for you. It's only going to help. So that's short and sweet. Agree with Ryan. Just added that. Yeah.
And I agree with both of you guys. And I think one thing to add is, the mental health
Yeah.
value of having a gym community and going to the gym. Like I've met people that have fought, they're in there fighting battles against drug addiction. They're
Yep.
fighting about their divorces. They're fighting about losing children or
Mm,
loved ones. They're in there for a fight and for a purpose. And you're in there for a fight and purpose. And a lot of times you can commune with those people, through that fight that you're all going through. It's a common fight. It's for different reasons, but it's a common fight.
mm,
And it really is like so positive to have people that are going through the same struggles, same real life struggles that you're going through, and you're able to share something with them. And it really uplifts you. And, when you see people succeed and they have like, there's one, Justin, I'm not going to say his name, just, I'm not going to blast anyone out, but he's an elite power lifter and he's been through like a lot of drug addiction
mm-hmm.
problems and stuff like that. And he's a world champion now, and he's doing like amazing things. And that guy inspires me every day to like get up and do it. It's like, man, if he can like, if you hit that rock bottom, and he is where he's at now, weighing like 165 and putting up 1,000,000 pounds, like that says something about that human being, that they're able to overcome all of that and become almost superhuman in strength like that. That shows how much hours, dedication, and how much of a fight they had to, fight those demons within. And we're all fighting them. And I think that's what the beautiful thing that Jim does, is it brings us all together. And lets men know that we're in this fight together. We're not alone.
Yeah, like it helps you no matter what your goals are in the gym. It helps you find a way forward no matter what you're going through. Like I definitely wouldn't be as level-headed without the gym. I definitely wouldn't be as happy as a person without the gym. So I know, as Ryan said, he's broken every bone in his body. I've torn like every muscle. Like I can relate. Like without it, like the second an injury happens, I'm in the gym the next day trying to fix it. I don't care what it is. So it just, you're always having a goal. There's always something you can improve. There's always something that you can do to make yourself feel better, do better, look better, help other people. That's why I'm in it. I want to help as many people as I can and just compete and have fun for the rest of the time that I powerlift. So.
Good point. All right, guys, what's the next goal? What's the goal for coming up? Ryan, what's your goal coming up?
All right, my 2025 goals for the first year in a really long time are not lifting related. I am spending this entire year losing weight, upping my cardio and my fight IQ, and going from a horrific, brand new, terrible at this martial artist. And I'm going to spend the entire year training, including a trip to Poland to do a fight camp. And next year, to early 2026, I will be 48 years old, and I will take one amateur fight as a conclusion to 2 years of martial arts. So my goal is to prepare myself to get in the ring in an amateur fight at 48 years old, boys. I started my weightlifting journey at 33 and was a 2-time North American champ by 43 and a Canadian national champ. Now I start my fight journey at 46, and by 48, I intend to step on the ring. I have no illusion of stepping into the UFC or anything. Of course not, guys. Like, I'm a mortgage broker. Hey. But the conclusion of me taking a skill build and changing my body and getting in shape and getting mobile, its conclusion to me is no different than it was powerlifting. It was a meet. So what's a meet in martial arts or in fighting? I'm stepping in the ring in an amateur. I'll wear a helmet and gloves, and that's the goal. And so you guys might watch me waste away. You've already watched me waste away from the 110 kilo class to 93 already. I'll have to step in the ring at 185 pounds, and I competed in powerlifting for a decade at 242. So that's it's a 60-pound weight loss from the end goal to step in that ring at 185. And I competed in the 110 or 242s. So that's 2025 for me, boys, is put them up.
You're going to crush it, brother. Awesome. You're going to crush it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Justin, what's your goal?
So for this year, I've been recovering from a pretty nasty back injury. I have issues with every lumbar disc, and I'm almost out of pain finally after months and months and months and years of issues, but months and months of good rehab. And so short term, I'm doing a bench only competition next Sunday out here in Vegas just for fun, just to give me a break from rehabbing. So I want to bench 430 to 440. I'll be very happy in that range. And then a little long-term goal, not really as long, but in June, I want to total over 1,800 pounds, and I want to squat 700 pounds. I want to bench press 450 pounds then. So those are the goals for this year.
Jesus Christ.
That's why he's my coach.
Oh, back to the real people goal.
That's why
because I'm delusional. That's why I'm your coach.
No, I'm gonna go July 20. I think it's like July 25th. There's gonna be nationals in New Jersey. Yeah, I'm just gonna.
I'll be there.
For that, and Yep. We're gonna have a good time like we did in St. Louis. But I'm just gonna recover. I'm gonna spend this next few months recovering, getting 100%, and then we're gonna turn it up. And his nationals this year is gonna be great. I'm gonna break 400 at 90K weight class in squats. I'm gonna do over 500 on deadlifts. Finally getting back to that, and then at bench I went over 300. So I think those are all doable. I think we're going to do it, and it's going to be a really successful nationals in New Jersey, and I'm looking forward to 2025.
Jack, make sure you tell me, even though it's 4 hours, I'll pull up just to watch you do your
Hell
national.
Hell yeah,
yeah,
it'll be good to
Because
meet you.
hell yeah,
it's only
brother.
like four, maybe 4 hours for me to New Jersey. We can always go
I
to
met him
Atlantic
out.
City afterwards.
I met the Pope out in Vegas, and that was a
Oh,
lot
that's
of fun.
awesome.
So it would be good to see you again.
Hey,
Yeah, I
I
had my
will pull up.
mistress with me from Mexico.
Hey,
Oh
I
my
don't ask no,
gosh.
I don't ask no questions. I mind my own business.
I know who he's talking about too.
I mind my
Oh
own
yeah, you
business.
saw her too. You
I
saw her
mind my
I
too.
own
did.
business, my guy. I mind my own business. I mind my own business on those type of
Oh
issues.
man.
I
Life of a
think the only
divorcee, baby.
Hey, the only goal I really, really have, because this is probably the last ride I can probably do natural. It's getting hard out here, kids. So this may be the last natural journey. Is to hit 1250 at my next meet.
Got
That's the
this. Let's
goal.
get it.
And
Let's
I
go.
think I should be able to do at least 413 SWAT. And my bench is 100% back, so that's at least a good 336 right there. And if
Nice.
some miracle, if I can add 22 pounds to my deadlift between now and April, that'll be 501. That'll make it 1250 even.
You got it. Let's go.
Oh,
And
You
this
got
is
it.
you got
somebody
it,
who
brother.
stated just 2 years ago, I will never deadlift and squat. And look at me now, kids, big deadlifting with the big dogs. So you can do all things through
Love
God.
it. Love it.
Now we'll see what happens. Kevin got his plans, I got my plans, and sometimes he get cussed out. But hey, that's a good natural journey right there. And that might be the end last ride naturally. But we will see. And thanks to Ryan, my M1 account, I just now received $12 in interest. So kids, start investing your money and maybe
Good
by the
I
shit.
gotta
time
talk
you
to you, Ryan. I gotta talk to you.
No,
hey,
you got to talk to Day Job Ryan, who's the financial advisor and the mortgage broker and all that. Not Evening Ryan, which is what you guys get, which is the power lifter dude,
Evening
right? That's
ride.
all I can say is
That's
my M1
awesome.
account has just now hit $12 in interest, and I am very impressed, and I'm very, very happy because it looks like I may be retiring early in the game. So
Good
that little
shit.
bit of Zuckerberg money will, help out a little bit.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, I'm about to edit this, and I will send it to your inbox. Salute.
Sound great.
Salute, everybody.
Thanks for
All
having me
right.
on.
Much love
Thanks
to
for having
all
me
of you
You
on.
betcha,
guys.
boys.
All right.